Hello and welcome to the second video in our training series. We'll be training you on the induction booklet, which is our in-house document here at Best Transcript. My name is Rufilo Sepesu. I am the founder and CEO of Best Transcript, and I will be conducting the training on this series. So our second part, we deal with the in-house basics. So at Best Transcript, we have a particular rule in terms of how we format our transcription work. So firstly, we place each new speaker's utterances on a new line. So what that means is that we transcribe each speaker's words on their own separate line or paragraph. However, we do not skip a line after each paragraph like this. We do not do this in a transcript. So this would be one speaker's utterance, and this would directly follow being the next speaker's utterances. We never skip a line between the two speakers, but we do put each speaker's words on their own paragraph, meaning we don't join these two paragraphs together if it was two different speakers speaking those words. So if a speaker goes on speaking for a really long time, we tend to separate their utterances into paragraphs so that it's readable. Again, we don't leave a line open like this in between the paragraphs when we type it out. We just press enter once, and then we put the new paragraph there. On the actual document, it will look neat and separated and easy to read, and that's why we separate it into paragraphs to make it much more easier for our client to be able to read the transcript. We have a formatting style in terms of our Word document. So we use Arial 12-point font size and 2.0 paragraph spacing with justified text. We always save the document as a Word document and no other format. It is absolutely important to always research every company name or term that is mentioned in your file. Whatever you are unfamiliar with, you must research it. It is absolutely imperative that you spell things correctly as they're supposed to be. If there's a term that is mentioned that you are unfamiliar with, type in what you're hearing into Google, and Google will resolve it for you. So Google will tell you what the actual word is. And if you have several answers that come up from your search, choose the one that fits your context, that fits the context of the file that you're working with. So if you were talking about pets and now they mention a word that talks about cars, clearly that doesn't fit your context. So find that word that talks about pets. So keep your searches relevant to the context of your file. So official names of products and companies absolutely need to be spelled the way the company prefers. As I've already explained, clean verbatim is a style of transcription where we try to keep the speaker's communication clear and succinct so that the reader finds it easy to read. So we remove stutters, we remove stammers, people stumbling over the words, we remove that. We remove sounds like and blah blah blah, thinking words, crutch words, and false starts and filler words. We remove all of those to make sure that our transcription product is a clean document. So a stutter and a stammer, this is an example, like somebody repeating a certain sound in a word, or like I just did when I made a mistake. So you remove stuff like that, and you carry on with the transcript and you make it clean and just remove everything that is unnecessary that would clutter the transcript. However, when somebody emphasizes a word, like they repeat a word like yes, 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 of course, obviously that is not a mistake. That is emphasis in what they're saying, and we must include that so that we keep the spirit of what they are saying. So like I said, words that people say when they're trying to catch their thoughts, like and other words like that, we leave them out of the transcript so that it's clean and easy to read. We remove clutch words. A clutch word is basically a word that somebody puts in while they're still trying to connect their sentence and whatever else. You know, people who have verbal habits where they maybe say like every time when they're speaking, or at the end of every sentence, and it's unnecessary. We remove such things because they clutter the transcript and they dilute the message. Basically, we want our speakers' words to be clear and necessary. If somebody changes the sentence and they're like 3 words into the sentence, then we remove that false start. But if it's 4 or more words, we tend to keep it because it tends to add meaning to the transcript. So when somebody starts a sentence and then they decide no, that's not what they wanted to say, and they change it, it's called a false start. And a false start must be cleaned up. We don't put it into the transcript if it's 3 words and less. But if it's 4 words, we keep it because it's usually significant to the transcript. Okay, I've given a few examples in the booklet. Sometimes, as in this case, where the false start or false utterance is relevant in the file, to make it make sense, like if you were to exclude it, it wouldn't make sense why here the person is saying sorry. So obviously they're saying sorry because they're apologizing because they made a mistake here. So that's why we include this in the transcript. So it is 3 words, but it is relevant to the transcript, and that's why we keep it. If it's 3 words like here and it's not relevant, then we omit it. Also, we do not put in unfinished words. We do not put in words that don't exist. We do not put in words that don't make sense. If you hear a word and you're not familiar with it, type in what you're hearing in Google and let Google give you the word. If Google doesn't give you the correct spelling of the word, then just put inaudible. That's the safest option that you have, rather than putting a word that doesn't exist or gibberish into the transcript, because that is a total no. Okay, so how do we deal with speakers who talk over each other or interrupt each other, or they get so involved in the conversation that they seem to be talking all at the same time and interrupting and interjecting over each other's speech? So we have 2 ways that we approach that. If the first speaker is near the end of their sentence, then we usually just write the whole sentence or the whole utterance, and then we start a new line with the speaker that interrupted. So if somebody interrupted before the sentence was finished and yet the speaker was near the end, we just type it as though there was no interruption. But if a new speaker interjects in the middle of a speaker's line and it's actually going to distort the transcript for us to record the other speaker later, then we put it on that spot. So we put a double dash there and we put what the speaker, the second speaker, is saying in the interjection. So if somebody was saying, I was thinking we should, and then the other person interrupts by saying, is it not time that we, obviously leaving this to the end wouldn't make sense for why this one would say, sorry, you were saying. So that's why we record it at that instance where it happens. I hope that makes it clear for you guys. Okay, so we also have something known as feedback words that are usually uttered by a listener to show that the speaker at the time that they're still listening. Let's say the speaker is going on for a long time and explaining and everything, and then the listener would be like, yeah, okay. Those type of things are called feedback words, and we do not include feedback words in a transcript where we'd be interrupting the speaker's utterances, because it's unnecessary and it clutters the transcript. However, if the listener is giving valuable feedback to the speaker and it's like a longer phrase than just okay or yeah, then we include it because they're contributing to the conversation. Okay, we have a few in-house spelling rules. We have these rules for consistency, so that our transcript looks consistent and coherent, and also because it's a proper way and a more formal way of spelling the words. So for a lot, it is a lot and not just one big word. So these will be found in the induction booklet, and you can go through them. Strictly follow these spellings for these specific words. Okay, if somebody spells something, a word, during the utterances in the file that you're transcribing, this is how you format it. You use capital letters and you separate each letter with a dash. When you record a single letter in the transcript, let's say somebody says, well, option A, you capitalize the A, or somebody says y equals mx plus c, you capitalize the individual letters that they speak. We also have conventional spelling rules, like this is how the company prefers to spell it, so that is how we spell it, and we keep consistent with how the rest of the world spells things, like World War II, type 2 diabetes. This is how it is medically preferred for us to spell it, and this is how we will spell it, because transcription is a formal piece of writing. So we need to reflect that in our writing. We need to be formal. We need to keep with norms of writing things and conventions of writing things. Also, when you're using the name of a common brand as a verb, you capitalize it. Like, Photoshop is a specific brand, but when you use it as a word, as a verb in a sentence, then you put a small letter. But if you were talking about Photoshop, meaning the application by Adobe, then you would capitalize it, okay? And if you're talking about Google, the company, you would capitalize this G, but now you're using it as a verb, so you use small letters. I hope that's clear, guys. Okay, we do not use informal pronunciations in our transcript. If somebody says kinda or sorta, we write it as if we would write it in a formal piece of writing. It's kind of, sort of, could have, because we never ever put cause just because the speaker said cause. It's because it's a formal piece of writing. Therefore, we format words in proper English.